What up, everybody? It is Beltway Football live in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, PA. We're out on the field at Lincoln Financial Field, and man, it went bad for Washington. My name's JB Fenley, joined by the big man, Mr. Mitch Tischler, with a very smart jacket, I would add.
Thank you.
We are brought to you by MGM National Harbor. We're going to be there a week from tonight, next Thursday night, the 21st. It's going to be fun. Come out, hang out with us. It's going to be a lot more fun than watching this game was.
Absolutely.
The Eagles scored 2 touchdowns in 20 seconds. This was a ball game until late in the fourth quarter when Dan Quinn made a gutsy call, tried a Sam Cassell dance on a 4th and 2, went for it. They went under center, which was kind of curious. Jaden Daniels just told us in the interview room that he kind of said his cadence needs to be louder. Seemed like there was a little bit of a communication issue with Biotish. Ball comes out a little late. He's bobbling a little late. Everything is a little impacted as he tries to get to the edge. We can debate if he is or isn't fully healthy. Regardless, they don't get it. Eagles go down the field, score. They get it again. He throws a pick. Saquon goes and scores again. Ball game, all she wrote. Let's start with credit to Dan Quinn, who came in that room and said, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
What do you make of the call?
I mean, listen, they've been aggressive all year. They've been really, really good on fourth down. Other than last week's, fourth down play with Zach Ertz at the end of the game, they hadn't missed one all season, so I understand the aggressiveness from them. In that point in the game, with the Eagles kicker struggling the way that he was, to me, I feel like you take the points there, but also they're playing their brand of
football. So everybody understands, it was 12-10.
It was 12-10.
It was about 5 minutes left.
Right. There was a 42-yard field goal, give or take. The fourth down bot, which is, they give you the percentages.
They probably tell you to go.
No, the bot told you to kick, which was interesting because the bot pretty
all
much
the
always
analytics
says
people
to go.
will say to go.
Yeah.
I think there are some old axioms that I lean on in situations like that. Take the points on the road, right? And it's 12-10. You kick there, you're up 13-12, and then Hurts has to make the play rather than when Jaden had to start pressing. And their defense had played really well.
They've been on the field a long, long time.
What I hated was it was 2nd and inches. And then they got pushed back a little, and then it's 3rd and 1. They get pushed back again, so then it's 4th and 2. As much as you want, and Dan Quinn said I wanted to make a bold call. I liked what Austin Eckler said. He's like, touchdowns win games.
Right.
That's what we believe in this locker room. That's who we are. And you don't want to change an identity, especially in attacking successful identity. But in that moment, it really backfired. The fact that it went from 2nd and inches to 3rd and 1 to 4th and 2, and then you still go for it. But they've also been great at it. I disagree with the call. I would have kicked, but I'm not going to kill them for it.
No, because you have an identity as a football team, and Dan Quinn started establishing that back in April when he was hired all through offseason, all through training camp, all through the first half of the season. They have their identity, and it's aggressive, and it's pressing the gas. What's troublesome to me is that you press the gas there. At the end of the game, though, you're down 16 points. There's 4.5 minutes left, and they run a 15-play drive with a lot of dinks and dunks, and they run a couple of those running plays right before the 2-minute warning.
4-minute drive. They didn't call timeouts. This game ended with them with 2 timeouts in their pocket. And I asked DQ about it. He's like, yeah, we wanted to score before the 2-minute warning. That's not a real answer, Coach.
No. With 2:50 left, they ran 2 draws with
consecutive draws on 2nd and 3rd down.
Yes. That's not trying to score in that moment.
It was the surrender playbook, man.
Yeah.
And listen, we saw a weird amount of avoid disaster playbook, surrender playbook, but we hammered Ron for this stuff. Now, DQ has the advantage of starting 7-3, so it's a little different and showing a real willingness, especially before halftime, of being aggressive. So there's a broader body of work of understanding game clock manipulation, but that was weird. And it was like anathema to how they've operated the rest of the season, where they're pushing the gas.
And listen, all of that is important to talk about, the minutia of how they came out and lost this football game. Saquon ran for $150, but 50 of that was in the last 4.5 minutes of the game.
Probably more, dude.
Yeah, they didn't lock him up the first part of the season, the first part of the game, but they didn't allow him to be the reason that they were behind.
Rooster had a really good stat. I was just going
to say, the bigger issue for me for all of this is now the Commanders' offense has not looked great the last couple of weeks. They've certainly put up some points in other games, but Jaden hasn't been the Jaden Daniels that we saw. And maybe we got spoiled in the early part of the season with those Bengals and Cardinals games when they weren't punting and they were converting every 3rd down. but 1 for 8 on third down. I don't know what they ended up.
It might have been 1 for 9.
They were 1 for 8 on third down when they were up 12-10, and they stayed in the football game. But we're starting to see this offense start to
finished
sputter.
3 of 12, and a lot of that was on a 4-minute drive when you're down 2 scores. Like, they ran a 4-minute offense when they need to be running hurry up.
The 2-minute offense, right. So, to me,
like, you see the numbers there if you're watching right now on the Monumental app. Jaden hasn't looked right.
Right.
He says he's healthy. Dan Quinn says he wasn't impacted by the rib injury. There does – so I'm gonna contradict myself. They're 7-4, and they've got 2 games coming up at home against teams with a combined 5-13 record. Like, let's all take a deep breath. They're still ahead of schedule. This is supposed to be a rebuilding year. They're still on path to make the playoffs, etc. But it also
we saw what the good was from that.
Yeah. But this is what starts creeping my mind is we've heard talk of this second half Kingsbury regression.
Yeah.
You wonder about a rookie Wall. What is 7-4, 11 games in. He's gotten beat up a bunch. This was a short week particularly. You wonder if he's all the way there, Jaden I'm talking about, and you wonder if defenses have figured parts of this out and if there's a counterpunch to come.
Yeah, and that's what the big question is as we look forward. The big takeaway from this one is the fact that they sputtered a little bit. There are reasons and excuses for everything. We can talk about the injuries.
And meanwhile, the defense has gotten so much better.
It's gotten so much better week after week, and that's what's so frustrating about this.
Saquon had 70 rush yards at the end of the third quarter.
The defense gave you a good enough performance to win this football game, and the offense just wasn't able to get moving. This is the
it's
first
like last week.
This is the first real adversity that this team is going to face.
Yeah.
2 straight losses. You have 10 days now to think about it before you get a Cowboys and Titans coming up. But there's a lot of questions with how this team is going to move forward. And I think it's a great test for Jaden in his rookie year. And it's going to be great for us to watch to see how they react to it, how they rebound, if they rebound, and whether they can get this offense back on track again.
Do you think Jaden's healthy?
No. I think that you are seeing them a limited playbook. And maybe it's partially the injury, partially some of the O-line attrition that we've seen. I think there are lots of reasons that we can give for why
specific to like the rush yards.
Specific
dropping.
To the rush yards.
What did he finish tonight? 13, I think was the last I saw.
And yeah, look, Jaden
7 for 18.
Jaden took the cut on his hand. They super glued it. That's a hand cut is not the reason that those throws were wobbly he wasn't able to get them out there.
In the last 2 weeks, 12 carries for 23 yards.
That Noah Brown throw in the middle of I believe it was the second quarter, where Noah was kind of wide open on a third down, and Jaden left it in there. And Jaden was like looking down on the turf and kind of kicking, so maybe he got a little bit of a weird step.
It seemed like tonight he wasn't getting through his progressions. And he's been so good at like pre-snap. You know what I mean? At determining, and then when it's not there, like he's scanning both sides of the field. Seemed like we saw less of that tonight. I
think part of that though comes from the pressure that the O-line allowed, because they were in his face all game. I'm not going to go as far as saying happy feet, but I think I asked Dan Quinn about it, whether he felt like Jaden was sped up a little bit, and I think you could see that in some of the progressions, in that he would start on the right side of the field and never make his way back across, and ultimately, if you're given a two-read offense, you're going to allow yourself to get picked off, just like he was on a receiver that he just stared at.
Yeah, the INT was a killer.
That was a bad throw, but he had a bad throw early that could have been picked.
Sure.
You know, it just wasn't a very good day for him.
And wasn't clean at all.
I think the offensive line has been a big part of the problem with what we've seen of this offense being successful the past couple weeks.
I think the injuries are starting to add up. I also think Patrick Queen last week did a really good job as a spy on Jaden. And Nakobe Dean did a pretty good job in that capacity today.
You were saying that you weren't as concerned as others about the 2 big D tackles in the middle. I think they wrecked this game plan for the Commanders.
I think there was a lot of wrecking factors in that.
Of course, but I think they stood up the middle of that Commanders offensive line at a fairly
Brady Graham was pretty darn good.
And Nakobe Dean.
I think Bond is just a stud. He's the one that made the tackle on the fourth down.
Defensive player of the week, I think, last week, and then coming out, he had a sack and a PBU right away in that first.
Sweat was good. I think Nolan Smith had a sack. But yeah, I mean, that D-line was a clear factor in all
And you
this.
spent all week talking about Quinyon Mitchell, the Eagles corner.
He was good, dude.
That dude was pretty good.
Yeah.
I may have underestimated him a touch.
Yeah, dude. I had been hearing that from people I know and trust. They're like, you got to watch this dude. He's good. And a lot of people will say, why didn't Terry get more involved? Why didn't Terry get more involved? I thought he handled that fine in postgame. He's like, man, I control what I can control.
Right.
I'm not going to say it was only Quinyon Mitchell's involvement, but that's a factor, and Jaden just didn't really have it.
Right.
I mean, dude.
Jaden couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards. I mean,
in the third quarter, Jaden had about 105 passing yards, and Eckler had 81 of them.
I mean, that's just absurd.
I mean, they finished the game. Eckler had 89. Ertz had 47. John Bates, your third leading receiver, was 17 yards. Then Terry and OZ each had one catch each for 10 yards.
Noah Brown had one.
For 4. Your wide receivers accounted for 10, 20, 8. 28 yards on 4 catches. 7 yards per.
Yeah. That ain't very good.
It's cold. It's late. We appreciate anybody watching. If you're listening,
we appreciate everyone watching.
Isn't anyone and everyone in that situation technically the same?
Yeah, but there are definitely people watching.
Yeah, but you're just talking to everybody. I'm talking to specifics. Okay. Any singular person. We appreciate anyone and everyone watching. And if you're listening to this or at 12:18 a.m. after kind of an ass kicking, maybe you're just listening to this tomorrow morning. Go back and watch
it on YouTube or on the.
Well, I'm telling you, if you're listening to this in the future, if we're going back to the future and this is Friday morning and you're listening to this on the subway, watch it on YouTube. Yeah. You get to see Big Man's fancy jacket and a tie clip.
Yeah. I've been doing a tie clip. How about your fancy vest or sweater?
Sweater.
It was much colder pregame than it is right now.
That's true. And the short week got me. I didn't pack well at all, and I
heard you got a clothing delivery this afternoon.
I had to go to that Nordstrom Rack by the hotel. Shout out to Nordstrom Rack. Although I thought this was half off. How much do you think this bad boy was?
$129.
So it said you walk in the store and it's 50% off everything. Okay.
So they just raised the rate.
So this had an $80 price tag. So I was like, all right, $40 sweater. That's pretty nice.
80 was the half off price.
80 was the half off price.
You know what? You got out of there on it for $80.
A little snap.
That's not too bad.
It's merino wool.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. But.
You know what was cool? I think that's a very specific sheep from a very specific location.
Sound like you really know. You're really locked in on this.
You come to me for fashion advice, right?
You want to get to the stuff?
I thought what was very cool today. I love what the Eagles do with their in-game presentation.
Yeah.
The light shows were awesome, the fireworks, the whole 9 yards. And Mark Ein quote-tweeted a John Keim video of it and said, hey, I can't wait till we have a nighttime home game, then we can go out and do this.
Well, win the next 2, otherwise you might not get one.
Right.
Right.
I
don't think this is going to go sideways. What is your this could go sideways meter at?
I don't think it's going to go sideways, but I think it puts a lot of pressure on these next 2 games. I think if you come out of this beating either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, not that you can let down by any means.
8-3 is way different than 7-4 with a 2-game losing streak.
Exactly. And 10
all that said, though, my it can go sideways meter is like a 5 out of 100. I just don't see it happening.
I have confidence.
I also think the next 2 teams they've got suck in the Cowboys and the Titans.
The Cowboys, I was doing a little research before the game. The look-ahead line for the Cowboys, the Commanders were -10. The double digit, might drop a touch. Commanders have only been favored 4 times against the Cowboys in the last 15 years, and never by more than 3.5 points.
Wow.
So this is a giant step for this organization. And I think as we talk about some of these frustrations from tonight's game, we have to remember, as you said, it's a recalibration. It's this team wasn't supposed to be this good, this fast. I think we all got very excited when the offense was a completely
juggernaut.
Just the biggest juggernaut that was out there. And now we're seeing what's going to happen when they have a little adversity.
Yeah, Dan Quinn loves kind of talking about the brotherhood and the adversity and fighting together. Now you got an opportunity, and I think everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Right.
They've now been punched in the mouth, and I'm very curious about the plan going forward. Should we get?
I was going to say, just you look at the 4 losses the Commanders have on this season, and it's the 4 best teams that they've played.
Sure.
And of course, you can look towards these next couple of games.
And the Eagles haven't played the Steelers or the Ravens yet.
That's what I was going to get at, is the Eagles have the Commanders' tough games coming.
Like, they don't have a rest week coming.
I think that this little 10-day mini bye that they have before they play the Cowboys is the most important 5 to 10 days that this team has had since they drafted Jaden. I mean,
I don't know about. I think physically they need this in a big way. I think the O-line needs it.
I think the O-line needs it.
I think Jaden might need it. And
listen,
Dan Quinn said he was giving those guys time off. I think guys are ready for a little time off.
I believe so, and I think you can look around that locker room and see that. Brandon Coleman beat up, didn't have a very good day.
Wiley.
Wiley has the shoulder that
Cosme
we know
seemed
about.
like something might be
Cosme
off.
was getting dog walked far more often than we've ever seen him do that. And granted, the Eagles' D tackles are both giant Georgia Bulldogs and are big men that can do it. But Sam Cosme's been so strong, and to watch him get walked back to the quarterback tells me that something's not right there.
All right, we're going to get to Game Balls and Goats, brought to you by Oarsman Automotive of Virginia. We ride with them. Want you to do the exact same thing. You can check them out at oarsmanva.com. I doubt any of those guys are watching us. They probably drank a bunch of beers and fell asleep.
It's nice that you said beers because it's definitely bourbon. Or at least as this game started going further the wrong direction, it may have started as beers and gone to bourbon.
I got some Game Balls.
I have a couple
mostly
Game Balls.
Goofy ones.
I have one real one.
I thought Quan Martin played really well.
Quan Martin had a very good game on the back end. Mikey Sanderstill, I think, at least had
Mikey Sanderstill did a pretty good job on A.J. Brown a lot of the night.
Mike Davis stepping up, and
that was a surprise.
Was surprising. And
dude, if I had told you before the game A.J. Brown would finish 5 for 65 without a score, take that all day.
Write that in.
Devontae Smith, 4 for 29 without a score.
They didn't get killed in the air. Goddard had the one big catch
Hurts
right over
also
there.
Didn't look very good.
Ertz looked like he got concussed on that flea flicker double reverse thing that they did, and maybe wasn't entirely right the rest of the way.
I thought Chin was really good too.
One of the game balls
was really good.
Zach Ertz gets a big game ball. I thought, first of all, pregame was very cool. He was a captain.
Yep.
They put him on the big screen. I think you could see he was a little emotional. On the Brian Robinson touchdown run right here, did you see it?
I love that.
I love that.
You tweeted that out,
He took Reed Blankenship and blocked him all the way back to the back wall here, and like almost slammed him into the wall on that block. I love seeing old veterans finish plays like that, particularly when it's not non-offensive linemen that are buying in. Obviously, he also had the octopus, the touchdown with the 2-point conversion right after. That was kind of in late game mode, but Ertz was the only one that got the ball moving downfield at all. Eckler
he played it very cool all week, but it clearly was
it mattered to him.
Yeah.
Can you not? I mean, you have to give Eckler a game ball, right?
You're giving. I mean, Eckler.
I don't know, hat tips, whatever you want to say.
We're giving out a lot of game balls for a game they lost.
26-18,
26-18,
but really 26-10.
And it could have been 33-18,
which would have actually hit our overs had Jake Elliott been able to make a
couple things I wanted to point out.
Maybe these are all hat tips and not game balls, but positive things that we want to talk about.
Positive things I want to. Do we have to do what makes you smile?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna save one of these then. Also, shout out to these cupcakes. Mitch is trying to be a cupcake hipster and saying they were good.
No.
They were phenomenal.
I was trying to support our fellow media brethren that were trying to be good. Those cupcakes were delicious.
Goats. Here's what I have. O-line got beat. D-line got abused in the second half, but they were also just gassed.
Yeah.
But the D-line wasn't. Think about, we've named linebackers and DBs in those guys played pretty well.
The biggest issue with the D-line wasn't even stopping Saquon. It was how much Jalen Hurts was able to escape underneath. He had a couple third down runs that were huge. We had 10 games of this defensive line and this team where we've seen them run together, rush in concert, do the right things. And today I think was the first time that we really saw them kind of get out of their lanes a little bit. The first big Saquon run, I think you could see 54 Bobby Wagner kind of slide into the wrong run gap and just open up the edge for him.
I don't want to hammer the defense too much because I don't think they were given much of a chance. Before the game, all week, I was saying they've got to get back to converting third downs and winning time of possession. The final TOP in this thing was 33-27, but that is junk because of the 4-minute drive at the end of the game when it mattered. This thing was 33-22 or whatever the heck. And they converted 3 of 12. It was 1 of 9 deep into the fourth quarter. The offense was not good enough tonight. I think we need to pin a Kingsbury conversation.
We pinned it on the last podcast. It's the first time
I thought we pinned Jaden.
It was a combination, Jaden and Kingsbury.
I don't want to be reactionary in that conversation.
Right.
But I don't think Jaden nor Cliff were good enough tonight.
I entirely agree with you. A lot of the misdirection and multiplicity that we've seen from Cliff Kingsbury early on in the season, we didn't see tonight. It was this looked like some of those Washington football, Redskins primetime games that we've seen over the years where they don't come out, they don't give you a whole lot on offense. It's pretty vanilla playbook. Sure, it's a short week. Everyone in the NFL deals with these short weeks. And to me, it's something that it's a pin. I'm not ready to go all the way with that conversation, but I will pin it because it is something that I think we need to pay attention to as we get closer to this bye week.
I have good news. The stuff can be very fast because we all got smoked. 100 Chips is brought to you by MGM National Harbor. We get all the betting lines from BetMGM. We both lost all of them.
Yeah.
The fact that we were touching an over and this thing was 12 to 10,
yeah.
It did get close, but I mean, that just junk bets. You had the Terry trifecta.
Yeah.
Terry had one catch for 10 yards?
One catch for 10 yards.
Yeah.
That was close.
Everybody lost in the chips.
JP had all 100 chips on the over. He goes from minus 260 to minus 360. I myself, you see on the screen, I had 50 chips on the over 48.5, 50 chips on Terry over receiving yards, Terry touchdown, and the over of 48.5 in the game. Obviously, 26-18, 44. Didn't get there. I lost my 100 chips. I go to minus 120. So
nobody got anywhere close to anything.
We're in a
we read that wrong.
Yeah.
And it was funny on the radio today. I was like, if you're actually betting this thing as the lines were kind of moving today, you should have waited and taken the Commanders as they were getting more points.
Right.
And that would have looked pretty good most of this game.
Yeah.
Until Philly scored two touchdowns.
If they would have kicked that field goal, you would have felt a lot better about that +4 there.
Philly scored 2 touchdowns in 20 seconds.
I know.
20 game seconds.
That's rough.
Over-unders.
We're tied.
I lost.
Yeah.
Because of B-Rob.
We're tied. We were tied at 3-3 heading into this. The first one was Jaden Daniels, 219.5 passing yards. Not anywhere close. I think, 143 he ended with? Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Did I not?
Either way.
I thought I said to you in the press box, damn, I got smoked in these again. Did I not say that?
You may have.
Okay.
You may have.
He finished with 191 because of the junk 4-minute drive.
Stuff at the end. The other one.
Honestly, but maybe that's not junk. If you're going to go score, do it fast.
Do it quick, yeah.
Call the timeouts.
Right.
That, to me, is the most egregious part.
Ending this game with 2 timeouts in your pocket when it's a 2-score game with 4.5 minutes left in the game, that's a tough thing to look at. Part 2 of the over-unders, real quick. Part 2 of over-unders was Brian Robinson rushing yards, 45.5. I went over, you went under. He got to 63, I believe, rushing yards.
Yep.
63 for B-Rob.
3.9 YPC.
And then lastly was the fan-submitted one that you hated.
Dotson and OZ.
You
went under?
We both went over.
Oh. Dotson got the first play of the day.
I know.
Sirianni is a troll.
Nick
Don't
Sirianni.
let anybody tell you otherwise.
I love how much
time
we saw him on the field. Obviously, we haven't watched every Eagles game, but certainly it seemed like he was on the field a lot more tonight than he was. Anyway,
Sirianni or Dotson?
Dotson, okay. Yeah. Well, Sirianni shouldn't have been on the field at all.
I think he's like their third, fourth wideout.
Yeah.
The guy that gets plenty of snaps. But to throw the ball to him on that first play was undoubtedly.
Absolutely.
And I'll just never forget when Sirianni randomly tried to troll Art Monk. It was just a jerk. So
that's funny. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah. Not me.
Anyway.
Never forget.
I went
never
over
surrender.
I won over-unders this week, so that makes it 4-3 on the season. I now have a commanding lead. It's been your commanding lead all year.
I know. I am leading nothing.
Yeah. Lastly, we get to the Benji bet, which is brought to you by CQ.
You want a better shot at banking, check them out at cqmd.org. There's no way any of us hit the Benji bet.
Nope, we both thought the Commanders were going to win. I had 30-26. You had 29-27. I guess I nailed the Eagles.
26-18.
Yeah, what did I say? I nailed the Eagles score on the dot. Do I get avocado toast for that?
No. What
Okay.
did you have?
I had Commanders 30, Eagles 26.
I offered to make this a $50 for getting half of it. You said no avocado toast.
Right.
So you lost $50.
Neither of us
You
are
cost
millennial.
yourself $50.
Neither of us are millennial avocado toast enthusiasts.
My wife really likes avocado toast. Let's get
Your
to
wife's done
what
on the podcast.
makes you smile. Brought to you by Dominion National. Mitch, start singing.
Visit them at teethkeepers.com, where they provide high-value dental and vision benefits for individuals. Enroll today and save. teethkeepers.com. JP, what made you smile?
So it was cool. This corner right here, you guys can't see. We're like right outside the tunnel here. We were just kind of waiting, hanging around, watching players come out, talking to coaches and stuff. And there was a security guard here that there was not even that little of a kid, like a 12-year-old kid is my guess. And he had I think a Jaden Daniels jersey on. And the security guard comes up to him. He's like, hey, you here by yourself? He's like, yeah, my parents are over there. And he just handed him a field pass to like come down.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know why he picked
cool.
a Commanders fan or
That's
what.
Very cool.
But the kid was so excited. He got to come down on the field. And it was just a cool moment. Some adult decided to make a kid's day.
Yeah,
I just think
that's
that was
great.
neat. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot to smile about today. I want to talk about Joe Witt Jr. I love what he's done with this defense.
Sure.
The fact that they've been able to go from where they started the season, giving up points and yards left and right, to where they are today. Obviously, they got run down at the end of this game, but that first half defensive game plan was probably amongst the best defensive game plans that we've seen the Commanders, Washington Football, Redskins in a long time. They were able to hold this Eagles offense to very little in the first half. Obviously, the missed field goals help, but I love what Joe Witt is building with this defense, and he's done a really good job of making a lot with a little.
For sure. Joe's been really good. Players, not plays. I love that. He's correct.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of guys in the right positions. I think we're done. We done?
We're getting ready to be done. Let's remind people, next Thursday, November 21st, at around 7 o'clock or 7:30, we will be in the MGM Sportsbook.
Let's just tell people, get there at 7.
Get there at 7.
I think we should do the show at 7:30.
In the MGM Sportsbook at MGM National Harbor. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to take some fan questions. We're going to allow you guys to show up on either A, TV, or B, the podcast. And I'm excited. I'm excited about
that'll be a fun night.
Recording. And also, we're going to hang out afterwards.
Yeah, I'm hanging out.
We're going to drink a couple beers. We're going to watch some Thursday Night Football. We're going to have a little bit of fun. So come join us Thursday, November 21st at 7 p.m. at the BetMGM Sportsbook at MGM National Harbor.
It's going to be fun. Probably hear from us Monday. Enjoy a weekend without football. Go
let's enjoy football.
Yeah, enjoy football without the Commanders. 2-game losing streak. It's not the end of the world. A lot of winnable games coming. It kind of sucks, too. If you made it this far, I'll leave you here.